If you got that consistency flip really quickly and didn't have to create savagery to get it, are you going to have the muscle, the strength, the discipline after it to sustain that kind of success?
If you don't feel like doing it, do it
Nobody
anyway.
does.
Yeah, do it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't care that it's cold. I don't care that it's early. I don't care that you don't want to go to the gym. Like, that's when champions are made. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we show you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where we talked about your unique gift to the world. Today, for episode number 485, we are going to ask you a simple yet profound question. Can you learn how to be a savage?
Can you learn how to be a savage? So first and foremost, I think we should define what that means. Because where did that word even originate? I think it came from when we were, if you're an American, when we were colonizing West and the Indians were savages.
I believe so, yes.
And I don't think that that's a good thing whatsoever, the fact that we labeled them that way. But now it's actually become kind of an endearing term in an interesting way of like, oh, that person's a savage, meaning they're hardworking, they're disciplined, they have grit, they have work ethic. What's your take?
On the
What does it mean to be a savage from your perspective?
The history lesson?
Not the history lesson.
I honestly was going to say the same thing.
Okay.
So I do think it's important to frame it. And when we say it, we mean it in the most endearing way. Like we're proud to call ourselves savages, and when we see people that are, it's hardworking, it's resilient, it's never quit, it's show up no matter what,
right?
Reliable, like that kind of, no matter, like we're going this way, it doesn't matter what happens kind of deal.
Right.
And we were talking, so the reason this episode came up is because we were talking about, is that something that can be learned? Like, can you learn that level of belief? Can you learn that level of resilience, that level of pain threshold? That's kind of what it is.
And if so, how?
Yeah,
right.
I don't know that you can.
First and foremost, let's start there. So let's start there. What do you think?
I don't know that you can. I think that is something that is ingrained in you from a young age. Again, we've talked about this when we talked about identity. I've always had the identity of the person who could take more pain than other people.
Right.
I literally remember T.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When we were in, it was probably high school. We used to take thumbtacks and stick them into our arms. Literally, like big thumbtacks and stick them into our arms.
I remember that. I actually remember that. That was really dumb.
We used to do that. I used to remember quarters.
He was a barbarian.
Yeah.
Big
He was
dude.
a lot bigger than I was.
Yeah.
Remember quarters where you put your knuckle down and you whip quarters at each other?
I do remember that.
I left chunks of my knuckle on the table. Like, it was always a thing of who can take more pain. And I always wore that as a badge of honor. So for me, it's always been that way. And then once you translate it to a cause like the podcast and helping people, it's more natural, I think, just to like, I don't want to complain about it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. If it has to get done, it has to get done. I still complain, obviously. I do my fair share of complaining. But I don't think it's something that you can... If I was 31, I'm 31. If I'm at my age right now, I don't think it's something I can necessarily say like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to decide to learn how to be a savage.
I mean, in my opinion, it goes from the compound effect. So how long ago did you have that identity of like, I can take more pain than anyone else?
Is my entire life, as long as I can remember.
Okay, so you're 30 years into that compound effect. I think that someone who's 31 now deciding could be as savage if they started it now, and then it wouldn't take 30 years. I think they could start. You know what, though? Actually, I'm going to refrain on this. You've heard me talk about the myelin sheath. Okay?
Yes.
And I'm not going to go deep into it.
Yes.
But, like, there's a reason why people and scientists say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. The reason why is something called the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath is the insulation around neurons that help them fire quicker and more accurately. The more you do a task, the more myelin you put around those neurons. So if you spent your entire life horseback riding, Kevin can't jump on a horse and be as good as you. Not even close, honestly.
If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, I just rode a horse. If you are watching on YouTube, I'm sorry.
But I think that that's sort of like being a savage. I think some of us were forced to go through more pain and suffering and challenge, and maybe we had an identity that we can handle it and that we can overcome it. And I think the compound effect of that identity compounded over time with life's challenges has created a level of savagery, for lack of better phrasing, that other people can't necessarily just jump overnight to.
And it's the reason it's not about the pain. It's not about that. But if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you're trying to do this, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. There's going to be a lot of rough times. There's going to be a lot of reasons to quit. There's so many reasons. There's more reasons to quit than there is to stay.
100%.
Some days,
There's only one reason to stay.
Right. And if you don't see that reason, it's easy to stop. It's easy to quit.
I was with Emilia on Sunday, and I brought the whiteboard out to the living room where she was working because we were going to do finances. And similar to what you and I have talked about, I was helping her dial those in. And I talked about something that John Maxwell refers to as the consistency flip. And you've heard me talk about the bow tie. Matt talks about the bow tie. Okay, what is the bow tie? I want you to picture an X and Y axis, and in the upper right quadrant, there's a bow tie. Draw a bow tie. Okay, so there's one line going from 0. Imagine the Y axis is from 0 to 10. There's one line from 0 across the way to 10. And then there's
a touch screen that we can draw on.
Right?
I'm setting the attention.
I like it. And then there's another one that starts at 10 and goes to 0. Okay? The first line I drew from 0 to 10 is results out. The results you get back in any endeavor. The second line I drew from 10 to 0 is effort in. At the beginning of every journey, you have to put a level 10 of effort in for 0 return. Then it becomes 9 and 1, 8 and 2, 7 and 3, 6 and 4, and then 5 and 5 is the center of the bow tie. So eventually you get to the point where your 5 of effort in is getting a return of 5 out. Eventually this flips. Okay? Eventually, you're getting to the point where you can put 0 effort in, or nearly 0, and get a 10x return. Oprah is there. Oprah doesn't have to convince anybody to buy her product. She's Oprah. It's a consistency flip. At the beginning of every journey, you are not as bad as people think, so you have to overcome that with hard work and discipline and perception. And on top of that, you actually kind of do suck a little bit because you're new.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other end of that, you don't have to work nearly as hard because you're naturally good at it. And yes, you still should work hard, but you don't necessarily have to get a huge return. And you see a lot of really successful people, Kevin, you and I have witnessed this a lot, where they're on the other end of the bow tie. And you and I are still at the beginning. I think we're about to flip soon, genuinely. But we're still putting massive effort in for somewhat less reward.
Yeah.
And I know that will flip. And so my question to the listeners and to everyone out there is ask yourself this question. Easy come, easy go. If you got that consistency flip really quickly and didn't have to create savagery to get it, are you going to have the muscle, the strength, the discipline after it to sustain that kind of success? Like if you get lucky right out of the gate with your first 3 podcast episodes, what are the chances you're going to have the level of work ethic you and I do? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. And the other thing, too, and Alan and I have talked about this, we want to make sure that we're guiding you guys and gals the best we can. And I don't ever want to make it seem like this is super easy because I think I'd be doing you a disservice. Now, I don't want to walk you, back from taking the step to start something. But I do want you to understand that it's not easy.
Right.
And the people that make it look easy have either been doing it for a long time and they're on the other end of the bow tie, so it kind of is easy for them.
Right.
Again, like the Kardashians, this is a good example. I don't like what they do. I don't want to perpetuate their message. If they throw something up on their Instagram, it's going to sell. They don't have to. They don't have to learn sales.
Nope.
They're there. They're on the other side of the bow tie.
Yep.
A lot of people are like that.
Right.
But you're probably not yet.
Exactly. And if you let's give this a down to earth example. Lipstick kits. Okay. If Kim Kardashian comes out with a new lipstick kit, and she puts it on her Instagram and says, "This is amazing. This has changed my life." The little video. How many people are going to buy that? Like millions. Okay. If you're out there right now and you want to start a company, and no one knows you, and you have 800 followers, that's okay. You can still sell lipstick kits. But the chances, you're going to have to work literally 100 times harder than Kim Kardashian for 1/1,000,000th of the results.
Right.
And this is why people quit. Because they don't understand the consistency flip. They don't understand that the business owner who's a multimillionaire at one point was in his basement making sales calls. I see that. I've always had this weird thing and this reverence for Mark Cuban on the cardboard box before he ever started Yahoo or any of that. Eminem in the trailer park. Like, I've just always had this reverence for people who are grinding with no results because I know that the consistency flip will happen. And I know that will happen for us too. But I think that our listeners need to understand that and what that's going to require. I think that's the best way to articulate what a savage is. A savage is so hardcore, so disciplined, so structured, so certain that they can go years without the external validation. And then eventually they get all of the external validation. And Kevin and I have interviewed people who literally realize the consistency flip because they didn't know it was a thing. And they go, oh my God, like, I don't know if I deserve all this. I'm reading Matthew McConaughey's book right now. And he literally did a movie called A Time to Kill. And he worked really hard to get that role based on this, autobiography. But he went the day before it premiered, Kev, he walked to get a tuna sandwich in LA, in Hollywood, and no one, I think 2 or 3 people said hi to him. That night, A Time to Kill premiered, and it grossed over 15 million in the box office, like in one night, which is like crazy for back then, because this is 1994. The next night, he went to get the same tuna sandwich, and only 3 people didn't recognize him. And he basically said it was a dog, a homeless guy, or whatever. But the point is he was famous overnight. Now, all of a sudden, he went from, and he literally said this, I used to try to get 100 scripts to be the lead role, and I would get said no to 99 times at least. And now it's the opposite. Now I get sent 100 scripts, and I say yes to only one of them. And he said it's like this weird thing that messed with him so much because he had that overnight success. Now, the bow tie isn't going to be that drastic. I think Hollywood is like the most drastic version of that.
And music.
Exactly. And Kevin Hart talks about the 13 years that no one knew his name, and now he's Kevin Hart. The problem is you're not seeing the tail end. You're not seeing Kevin Hart be said no to for 13 years. We've only been on this journey for 4, right? Like, I see that all the time. I think about this all the time, this topic.
I think the other thing, too, is like you can't rely on the result.
You can't.
I listened to Kevin Hart's biography as well, and he's talking about when he was in his shoe store in Philadelphia.
Right.
He was literally
selling
working
Nike
at
shoes.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, you're funny. You should try comedy." And he bombed
regularly,
many times.
Right.
And now he's the funniest guy on the planet. Like, it doesn't happen. That's why I wanted to do this episode, because what you see. Like, again, we'll just use us as an example because I know us better than I know anybody else because I'm me and you're you and we talk. If you see us in here, we're having a good time and we're in the studio, and this year we got the studio and now we have high-ticket clients and things are going really well for us. Right. The best they ever have in this business.
Right.
But you don't see the crying into the pillow. I actually did a story where I was crying because I wanted to say, like, look, people say it's all sunshine and rainbows. Or they say, like, well, it's not always, but they never show you when it's storming. I want you to see that it storms occasionally. Okay, that's important to me because I don't want you to think this is easy. But there's a different level. Like, Alan and I are probably different than a lot of people in our lives in terms of I'm not going to do this with you today. I can't. I have to work. I don't care that it's Saturday. Right. I don't care that it's Sunday. I spend every Sunday with Taryn. But you better believe I still either wake up early or, like, a friend of mine said, hey, do you want to do legs with me on Saturday? I said, yeah, it's got to be 5 a.m. though. And he's like, that's not for me. I understand. That's fine. It's for me, though. This is who I am. I'm a savage. I'm a savage.
Right.
It has to get done. I'm going to do it. Right? I think I ended up going at like 5:30. But I'm just saying it's different.
It is.
It's a little bit different. And, you guys have heard the story of me thinking I was going to die in Florida, having a panic attack on the floor. But, like, that's sometimes what it takes. That's sometimes what it takes. And again, we're trying to change the world, right? Like, I want to inspire, change 1 billion people's lives. That's a lot of people. And that's going to take a lot of me. But at the same time, maybe your journey isn't at the same grade, but you're going to have to do things that are way out of your comfort zone.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have those, again, not being able to pay rent. That's happened to me multiple times where it's like 3-4 days out. And it's like, okay, I got to figure this out. That happened routinely. That happened routinely, right? It sucks. But that's what the savage is. It's like, all right, I got to figure this out. I got to figure this out. There's a reason the pursuit of happiness moves me so much. It's because Chris Gardner he's a savage.
Yeah.
Savage. Right? Like
if you've ever seen that movie, that's what a savage is.
And you need to. If you haven't seen it, you will cry.
That's exactly what we're talking about. That's the best example.
It doesn't matter what's happening around me. This is something that I have to do.
Yep.
This is who I am, and I will die before I fail.
Right.
That is what a savage is. Maybe you're not at that level, and that's fine.
I'm glad we landed there. That's the best articulation of a savage. That
so
movie's
can you learn that?
Right.
I don't know. I don't think you can. Not that level. Not that level.
Not overnight. I think it's possible to. I think it's possible to build it over time, but I think you need to really work at it, and you can't assume you have it. You almost have to.
You never do.
You almost have to know you don't have it in this weird way. I used to talk about I would literally on a Friday night get out of the gym at 6 o'clock, already having worked the entire day, and I would say, Alan, there's what you want to do, and then there's what you know you should do. And I would go to Panera by myself on a Friday night when all my friends are spending time with their loved ones or having fun. All of them, everyone, right? Friday night and Saturday night have become my favorite working nights because no distractions. No one's ever texting me about business. No one's ever working except for me. It's awesome, honestly. But at the time, I remember it was very hard for me, especially when I first quit drinking, where everybody was having fun. Everybody's main circle of concern on Friday is, what am I doing tonight? What am I doing tomorrow? What am I doing Sunday? And I remember I used to say, you know what, Alan? If you want to succeed at the level that other people don't care about, you are going to have to make sacrifices. Yeah. And I would go to Panera for 3 full hours. Legitimately, they'd have to come up to me and kick me out on a Saturday night. They said, we're closing. You have to go. Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. And I would go home by myself, completely spent. And so much of the opportunities that we've had come our way were a result of that shit that no one will ever see. Yeah. And that's what being a savage is about. It doesn't matter that anyone else knows. Only you know. And you gotta. It comes down to this simple thing. You know what's best for your future, and you know what you feel like doing now. I feel like listening to music in the car on my way home today. I know that reviewing the last episode is what's best for my future. I'm going to listen to the podcast. I do that constantly. And other people really do just want to listen to music. That's fine. But you're not going to have the same level of success I do.
And also understand, we want to listen to music too.
I know. Yeah.
Well, I want to listen to music just as much, if not more, because I love rap. I love I love it. I love music. Right. Music has gotten me through so much in my life. I want to listen to it. Yeah. But I also know music will be there.
Exactly.
It'll be there. Right. You know? I don't want to keep using examples of us, but it's easy because I don't know everybody's trials and tribulations. Alan and I got the opportunity to go to Florida and live with one of our mentors at the time, T-Mac. Literally live at his house for the entire month of December. 2019? 2019?
I believe so.
And we worked...
2018.
2018. Yeah. We worked every single day we were there. We worked Christmas Eve. We worked Christmas every single day. We went to the gym. Yeah. We did...
Were we home for New Year's?
We came home for New Year's.
Okay.
Every single day we worked for 30 days straight, however many days it was. Yep. Up for the gym, working. When I look back, that was one of the best months of my life.
I know.
And look at all the things that came from that.
So many. We met Eddie Pinero down there.
Right.
So much.
You couldn't even... So it's like... a lot of people said, well, you're going to miss Christmas. I don't care.
No, I don't.
There will be a Christmas next year, and it'll be better because I will have done something this year. Right. It will be better. I'll be able to provide better. And again, granted, I didn't have a girlfriend. Right. Taryn wasn't in my life at the time.
And it was lonely, too.
It was definitely lonely.
And I both...
We were burning down.
Yeah, we were burning down. It was
hard.
Of the loneliness.
It was hard.
I know Bianca was there for you. You two are close. And, I was still somewhat in and out of my last relationship. Yeah. But that was really hard for me.
It was.
But it was worth it.
It was one of the hardest months, ever. But it was also one of the best months. That's what is a good example? When I'm on a podcast and they say, "Oh my God, you got to interview David Meltzer." Yeah, but that's not how it happened. We drove 5 hours to New Jersey to see him speak, missed him speak. Then we got the chance to sit down with him. Sat through one of the most painful 3 hours of my life because I had no idea what anybody was talking about.
3.5, yeah.
Then we booked a $300 hotel room in Boston on a whim that we might be able to interview David Meltzer.
$450.
Is that how much it was?
Yeah.
We tore the room
with
apart.
money we didn't have.
Yeah, we didn't have that. That was on a credit card.
Yeah.
Right? Broke down the studio, took all of our equipment, smashed one of the lights in the hotel room.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Moved the bed on top of the other bed. Yeah. And Dave said, like, you guys are savages.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe you did that. That's why
he coaches us.
Exactly.
100%.
Evan.
Yeah.
Drove 10 hours straight to Toronto to interview Evan Carmichael.
On a maybe.
Yeah, on a maybe.
On a most likely.
Yeah.
If he decides he's sick that day and cancels,
that's
whatever,
why Evan Carmichael coaches us.
I know.
Because we're savages.
Right. And they know the long-term compound effect of that.
Yeah.
They know we're not going to quit. They can see it in our effort. Like, dude, it took us so much time and effort and conscious. And that's the thing, man. I think what I want to give to the listeners right now, Kev, that I think is really important, mentors know that.
Yes.
This is not about Kevin and I, but if Kevin or I
fired up
are the type of people that you want to be around, which in my honest opinion, you're going to have to get around next level people if you want a next level life. I say that all the time. It is what it is. We do notice. We do watch. And we have the savage radar. We have it. We have it big.
It's one of my core values.
100%.
I do not like people who, what's the word?
Who are not resilient.
Yeah, but the other, like when you
Soft.
Expect something.
Oh, entitlement.
I cannot stand entitlement. I love hard work.
Right.
I want you to earn it. I love when people want to earn it.
Most mentors feel that way, genuinely. Like, if you want to get next level mentors, and I want us to be a mentor in your pocket on the phone, 100%. But like Alex Goad, I'll just tell you this. I had a coach. I learned more in a month and a half from Alex Goad than I've maybe learned from almost anyone, other than probably Dave. And honestly, Evan at this point too. But like, it was like, oh my God, I was so blessed. I've learned a lot from you, Kev, but not in that small span.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. He coached me for free, and he's someone who gets paid $50,000 a year per client. I guarantee you it's more than that now, and usually a piece of the upside. He coaches early entrepreneurs. And he saw something in me. We met him at Brendan Burchard event in 2019.
I met him first.
Did you?
Yeah, but he liked you better because
Interesting.
you were more M. Yeah, I went up to him and said, "Dude, I love your swag." He had really nice clothes on. He was like, "Yeah, I met him first," and then
no kidding.
And then I think I introduced you guys.
He saw something in me, and I really appreciated that. And he did say something. He said that, Alan, there's a reason you suck at marketing, and it's because you think differently than most people. But anyways, he canned me because I was 2 minutes late to a meeting. And he said, Alan, people like me, and I mean this with respect, are looking at your every quarter turn. And I was doing fitness shows back then, so he was saying an analogy that I realize now, when you get more and more aware, you realize more and more who, let me just tell you this. When you become more and more aware, the people in your life, some of them are gonna increase in your understanding of their values, some are gonna decrease. And Alex Goad, the more and more I've learned, the more and more I respect that man. Because he was giving me the tough truth that I really did need. And honestly, in his personal development, no BS, he is ahead of me. He just was. He was so far ahead of me, Kevin. And so much of what he told me on that coaching is now manifesting into so much of the results we enjoy today. The 4 Ds of time, the essentialism that we just did an episode on. Like, he had me choose the podcast, go all in on it, and he said that would help you achieve all the other dreams. Like, he was so right about so many things, and I in hindsight took that for granted. I took the coaching for granted, and I wasn't a savage with him. I should have been on time. I should have been set up and ready, and I shouldn't have lost him as a coach. And that's on me. But hindsight's 20/20. And just if you're out there right now, it's not about Kevin. It's not about me. It's about you. Like, people who are next level are watching. You're always on stage. Trust me. And they're talking about who's next level. I have one client right now who is such a savage, and I love coaching him because he's going to have such a big impact because he's willing to do whatever it takes. And I think that mentality is so critical if you want to be successful.
And my goal when we said we were going to do this episode was I wanted to give a little kick in the butt. Like, this is kind of what you'd get from a coaching call if you were screwing up, right? And I know you guys didn't necessarily ask for that, but I do think it's super important if you most likely are going to have to become 100% more resilient than you currently are. And that's fine. That's fine. And I think you're capable of doing that. I don't know if you can learn to be a quote-unquote savage. You can be more savage than you are.
Yeah.
And I think that's the goal. It's not about us. It's not, genuinely not. We just have better examples when it comes to us because we know the ins and outs.
Right. We know the behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we don't really
And we
know.
also know other people's behind the scenes, but I want the listeners to know we can't air that out.
Right.
Right? So like we know what it takes to be Dave to an extent that maybe other people don't, but we can't just say that publicly, right?
Yeah.
Like we can only authentically share our behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Savage is about behind the scenes. You're not going to see it when you're on camera. You're going to see the daily ins and outs.
My challenge to you, and we got to go because we're running up against it, but next time you're scared, do it anyway. Next time you don't want to do it anyway. Like, as long as you're balancing your mental health, obviously that's super important. But if you don't feel like doing it, do it
Nobody
anyway.
does.
Yeah, do it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't care that it's cold. I don't care that it's early. I don't care that you don't want to go to the gym. Like, that's when champions are made.
Yep.
And I know we're a little hardcore in this episode, but honestly, that's what you need to get to the next level. You need to build your skin up. You need to thicken your skin a little bit. Don't ever lose what's in your heart. That's, again, like that we are so proud of having the hearts and the character that we do. But a lot of the character that we have is because we've put ourselves under a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. And it'll make diamonds of you, for sure.
Yes, it will. Okay. Am I reading a review?
No, let's just do Mastermind because we're going to run out of time.
Okay, so if you want to get around more next level people, if you want to be more next level, you're going to have to get around next level people. And yes, you're always on stage. Show your resilience, show your savagery, show that you're dedicated, show commitment. But come to the Next Level Nation and come to Next Level Masterminds. That is one way you can show this community that you're in it to win it, and you're going to attract phenomenal people.
And you're going to get a shout out on the podcast. I won't read your last name, but I'll read your first name.
Also true.
And that's right there. That right there is worth it.
Worth it.
Also, we know times are rough for a lot of people because of COVID. Holidays are coming up, so we are doing a giveaway at the end of, I'm just going to say at the beginning of December 1st. I keep saying at the end of November, December 1st. Why don't you just pick one? As of December 1st, Alan and I are going to pick 5 winners to give $50 gift cards to. Mm-hmm. All you have to do to be entered into this is leave a review on the Apple Podcast page. You can either leave a star or you can literally write the ratings. If you're going to leave a star, please leave 5 if you love us.
Yep.
And at the end, December 1st, we're going to pick 5 winners. All you have to do, just screenshot it and send it to Alan, myself, anybody in the team, just so we know it's you. It's going to help us help more people. And if you win, you'll get $50. And you can do whatever you choose with it. Maybe buy some, something nice for somebody. Maybe buy some coffee for people.
Buy some books.
Buy
Personal
some books.
development books.
See, that's where Alan goes. I naturally go coffee. Buy stuff for other people. That's where I go.
No, I think
Don't
that's
buy stuff
important.
for you.
Buy
Buy
a book
stuff for
for
other
someone
people.
else.
You can do that.
Life-changing book.
You could do that.
I got Emilia a gratitude book recently.
I love that.
Changing her life.
We've been getting some really good reviews. We appreciate it. Again, think of it this way. You guys might have been recommended this show. Maybe you came across it on your own. Imagine if there was a bunch of 5-star reviews there saying, hey, these are good dudes who really want to help. You'd be far more likely to listen, and we're trying to change the world. So, as always, we do not have fans. We have family. Thank you for being part of the Next Level University family. We love you, and we will see you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.